So let's start refilling a laser toner cartridge, HP12A compatible cartridge. Here I am refilling Foxin company compatible cartridge. You will need a good working place, a broad table, some newspapers or waste wrapper sheets, and all this equipment or tools which you can see. Please arrange those. You need a small funnel to fill the ink into the toner. There's a screwdriver, cutting plier, etc., and many other things which you will come to know why they are needed. That box with me are some extra parts inside the cartridge which I collected from old cartridges before dumping. It contains some screws, springs, etc. If needed, we can use those. That's a new compatible toner which we'll use to show you the difference. And that box contains ink bottles to refill. So you need to arrange these things for refilling the toner and then start the refilling job. Since this refilling job is a messy work, we will keep ourselves clean by wearing gloves and masks. Also, carbon ink can cause allergy. Let's bring the empty toner. Okay, let's start removing the cartridge. We will use a screwdriver for that. On one side of it, you will find a cap which holds the drum to the cartridge. There you will usually find two screws which you should remove. Also, we advise to watch this process, watch this video completely and then prepare to refill your toner. Please don't do it simultaneously by watching this video and keeping cartridge in your hand. This is the first side cap which we have removed. Also, we have removed two screws. Keep a note on this. Now, what you see the green or greenish blue part is the OPC drum or toner drum. Let's remove this drum carefully and keep it aside. Now, just below it, you will see another roller which is black in color. This is called PCR roller or rubber roller. That you should remove using a plier. You should reach one of the two edges of the roller where you will observe a metal or steel part. Carefully grip hold on it without damaging the edges of the black rubber part. You will be able to pull it out like this. Let's keep this one too aside. You will observe that there is a spring attached between two tiny hooks on the side of the toner where drum was attached. This spring is used to hold the drum in place while it's rolling. Let's carefully remove this spring also without damaging those tiny hooks. It's very important. You can use a sharp pointed tool like this to remove it. Also, while doing all this for the first time, you should carefully observe the placements and alignments of these components so that it can help you when you put those back after refilling. On either sides of the toner, you can see two tiny cylindrical pins. You will have to remove these. Always observe things before handling anything. Use an Allen key or something which is bent in L shape with a pointed edge because you will have to access these pins from the inside like this. I am actually using a long thin screwdriver to reach out those points. Before poking into those pins, first observe where those pins are present because if you poke randomly, you might be making indentations around those pins which can cause problems in future. Make sure your working place is sufficiently lighted so that you can clearly see all these small hidden objects. Remove both the pins. Without removing the pins, don't try to open the toner which can damage it. Now you have removed the toner successfully and divided it into two parts. This is the first stage of toner refilling. Now in first compartment, the waste ink is collected which you will need to discard. The other compartment which we kept aside is where you are going to fill the fresh ink. Now you should remove this waste ink which is collected inside the container here. For that, we should remove these two screws. There is another spring here which you should remove and we will tell what is the importance of this spring later on. Again, I am telling please observe before removing anything so that you will know how to put it back later on. So we removed two more screws, total 4 screws if you remember. Let's keep this component aside. This is the third component we removed, isn't it? It's called wiper blade. Now you can see the black powder here. This is waste ink. You should remove this fully and never reuse this. You might be tempted but don't. This will damage both the toner and printer because this powder has lost all the charging properties. Please keep this in mind. You can use a brush and cloth for this. Remove as much as possible by tapping. If some residual ink is left over in this container, it won't cause any problems. But it is important to remove this waste ink while refilling, because some people will leave this as it is in a hurry and only refill the ink in the other compartment. They will ignore this cleaning part. Some people also drill a hole on the toner collector compartment and fill the ink without even removing the toner cartridge itself. All these are bad practices. If this waste container gets filled, it can spill out of the cartridge and can get collected inside the printer, and it can spoil the printer. Now we will clean the wiper blade. Use a small cotton cloth for this. Clean it thoroughly but do it gently. Now let's turn our attention to the other compartment, the toner compartment. This is where you will have to refill the fresh ink. Even here, you should first clean up the residual ink, which can be a mixture of fresh and waste ink. So let's clear all these as much as possible. And the third drum or roller you see here is the magnetic roller. This is the next important component. This basically draws the toner powder onto the drum. So clean this part carefully and delicately. No need to clean it thoroughly. If some ink is left over on it, let it be like that. Its purpose itself is to draw ink from the toner container. There will be always some residual ink over this roller even if the toner is empty. If you observe, you will find another blade attached to this roller, which is called doctor blade. You can clean that part gently. Some people remove the screws holding the doctor blade and clean the doctor blade, but this is not required. Now let's safely discard this waste toner. Please make sure you carefully dump it so that children or animals don't come in contact with it. It's similar to medical or surgical waste. Now place another fresh newspaper or sheet on your desk. Remove any waste ink if you find from both the compartments. Now I will once again show what all we removed. The two compartments, the two springs, the two tiny side pins to hold the compartments together, the four screws which we removed, two for removing the drum, two for removing the wiper blade. The PCR rubber roller, clean up any ink over it. The OPC drum, clean it and handle it delicately. The wiper blade and the first side cap to hold the drum. So this is all what we have removed till now. Let's take the waste toner compartment. Let's reassemble it. Wiper blade should be kept back to its position. You can observe two round grooves on either side. The holes on the wiper blade will fit into those grooves. After you secure it, you can tighten the screws. Let it not be too loose or too tight. Apply moderate pressure. Tighten to an extent the blade is fixed firmly. Now let's put back the second spring. Remember, this is the second spring which we removed. This one is inside the waste toner compartment, just above the wiper blade. You can differentiate the two springs easily. Carefully insert it, looking at the hook to hold it. The round hole in the spring should get inside the round hook over there, and the edges should get hooked onto either side where there are grooves. If you had observed the spring placement before removing it, it would be easier to put it back now. Anyhow, it's not going to be that tough. If the spring is properly placed, you will be able to move the part below it like this easily. Wipe off any dirt. This is ready now. Let's keep it aside. The cleaning part of the toner is finished now. This is the second stage of refilling. Now we will take up the other compartment. This is where we have to pour the ink. Always remember, you should only remove one side cap, which is on the left side. On the right side there is gear mechanism to hold the magnetic rod. You should not disturb those by removing it unless there is any problem. But if you see any ink inside there, just tap and remove the ink. But don't remove this right side cap. So remove only the left side cap. If you observe carefully, you can identify where the plastic gears are located and where they are not present. Remove this one. Now let's refill. Take up the toner compartment and remove the left side cap. This is the fifth screw you are removing, if you can count. Now you will find the place where you can refill, pour the ink. Before pouring the ink, shake the bottles thoroughly. This way you will loosen up those ink particles which make them easy to flow. Now remove this cap. You will find a wide hole to pour the ink. Use a small plastic funnel to pour the ink. Hold the compartment firmly. You should also hold the magnetic rod together. Magnetic rod should never come out of its place. If you do so, ink will get spilled out of the compartment as you pour. Don't rush, take your time, otherwise ink will spill all over the place. Pour in moderate quantity and make sure it goes inside. Tap it in between. If toner is completely empty, then it will definitely take one full bottle of 120 gram powder. Then you can probably try to fill another half bottle, that is total 180 gram powder. You can also keep observing the powder level by removing the funnel. If it is getting filled up, stop it just before it reaches its full capacity. After pouring the ink, put back the cap and wipe off any extra spilled ink. Now, one of the most important steps is putting back this side cap. First, observe the side cap. You will see a half moon shaped groove. This should exactly fit to the end of the magnetic rod. You will also see that the extension on this side of magnetic rod is also half moon shaped. Both these should fit properly. Also, there is a spring attached to magnetic rod. This spring can also get cut or damaged, so be extremely careful while doing this. If you don't remove the magnetic rod from its place, then it won't give much issues. That's why we ask you to avoid disturbing the orientation of this magnetic rod. The orientation of the rod should be such that it should fit properly to the groove in the side cap. If in case this gets misplaced, then you should rotate the magnetic rod slowly so that at some point it gets hooked onto the groove in the side cap. You should do it patiently. At any cost, the spring should not get cut, and also the half moon indentation on the rod should not go inside. If it goes inside, you will have to pull it up, otherwise, it won't get fit inside the side cap groove. And while pulling it up, there are chances of spring getting damaged. So I only hope that none of you get into this position and this particular step in toner refilling procedure goes smoothly. If only this magnetic rod gets fit properly into the side cap groove, only then the magnetic rod rotates properly and only then the ink will be attracted all over it for every cycle. So after putting back this side cap and tightening the screw, just check if you can see the half moon indentation from the rod visible on the outside of side cap, and also rotate the magnetic rod gently to check whether the movement is smooth. And remember, you should rotate this magnetic rod only after closing the side cap. Never disturb this rod when the side cap is open. If it is not smooth and if you feel any disturbance, then it's quite possible that the rod is not fit properly. If you neglect this step, then it will not only result in poor printing, it will also result in permanent damage to the spring and the rod indentation. I am stressing so much on this part because this is the most crucial problem that even I have suffered in all my years of refilling this toner. So I am conveying all my thoughts and experience. The toner compartment is ready. Wipe off any extra ink. Third stage of refilling is now completed. Now let's get back to the other compartment. Clean the drum. After that, clean the PCR rubber roller. And one more useful tip I am giving is only this PCR rubber roller. You can clean it using water also. Remember, no other unit in the toner or printer should come in contact with water. Just this rubber roller, you clean it with water and after that dry it up thoroughly by wiping. No wetness should remain. This cleaning with water will help in improving print quality. I think not many are aware of this useful tip. Okay, let us clean up the area. Now let us put back the rollers one by one. First, put the PCR roller in its slot. You can clearly see the slots on either sides and it will make a click once you insert it firmly. But as always, don't apply too much pressure. Please go every step slowly and gently. Now place the drum in its place. Again, be careful. Even accidentally, you should not make any scratches over it. And any plastic extensions on the sides, there are chances they can get cut if you handle roughly and too quickly. So be careful, wipe off any ink, make sure the rollers are placed properly. Now that both the compartments are ready, we will join them together just like how we split them apart in the beginning, and join them in the right order looking at the alignments and placements. Now, if you have joined them properly, you will be able to see the tiny holes on both the compartments conjoined together, that is touching each other, and you should be able to see through both the holes. Now you should take up those side pins and insert through these holes on both sides of the cartridge. Even this has to be done gently, taking your time. If you press it too hard, then some delicate plastic parts can break. Insert the pin by tapping like this using an appropriate equipment which can guide itself through this gap on the other side too. And make sure that the tapered end of this pin gets inside and the broader part is outside. This way the pin gets in easily and securely. Now the two compartments are joined together. Check it properly. Always check in each step so that you avoid opening the cartridge once again. If the compartments are not joined properly and if it's getting apart, then it is evident that you have not inserted the pins properly on either sides through both the holes of both the compartments. The pins should be inserted properly on both the sides. If you pull it, they should not get apart. Also, you can observe there are these cushioning springs here on either sides. Make sure that these springs are also straight in its place and it is giving cushioning effect. If not, adjust it properly. But don't damage this spring. There is again a hook holding these springs if you can observe. That can get cut if you handle it roughly. So while joining the two compartments, you should observe that these springs are in place and the hooks are not getting bent as you join the compartments together. After this, you should make sure that the cushioning of the springs is smooth just like this. This is important for smoother printing operation. Now if you remember the very first spring which we removed in the beginning, you should put it on the side of the drum where there is no wheel gear assembly. Now we will put it back. Observe those tiny hooks. They are also extremely delicate. If they get cut, then you will not be able to insert this spring, so handle carefully. Use a thin screwdriver to do this. The coiled end of the spring should reach the hook that is outside the drum like this, and the flat end should go to the opposite hook. I am also zooming and showing how the first spring is fixed along the drum. Observe those tiny hooks on either side. This is how the spring should be fixed. All the springs should be properly fixed, including the drum cushioning springs for toner to work properly and to give good quality print. Now, the last step. If you remember the very first side cap which we removed in the very beginning in order to remove the drum, let's put it back now. In case you forget to put this back in a hurry and insert the cartridge into printer, the printer will return error message saying no toner. So let's complete all the steps. We will put this back and tighten the remaining two screws. Some company toners will have no side cap to fix the drum. Instead, they will be locked like this. So drum will be difficult to remove. Without removing the drum, we will not be able to remove the toner parts. So in such cases, you should go to the other side of the drum where you will be able to remove the drum by removing the big pin that holds the drum. You can do this carefully by using a scissor or some thin tool which can get into this narrow gap, and you can slowly move it sideways like this. This will loosen up the big pin. Now you will see that you can remove the big pin by accessing the tiny groove like this. Again, be patient. If you do this roughly, the edges of the drum can get damaged. The pin will come out eventually. Now you can remove the drum easily. Similarly, you can put the pin back after the refilling job. This is slightly different procedure compared to removing the side cap and the two screws. This toner doesn't have drum side cap, hence no screws too. This is one such toner specimen I have kept to show you. So you should be flexible to different situations. That's it. The toner cartridge is absolutely ready to print. Just once you rotate the drum like this so that it moves smoothly. If it doesn't rotate smoothly and if there is any disturbance blockage, then you have not refilled properly, that is, you have not reassembled it properly. That's why I explained everything, every step so clearly and so much in detail so that you won't end up with a failed effort. Let's make a habit of writing down using a pin or marker on the sticker the number of refills we have made. This is our third refill on this toner, so I am writing 3 over it. Now the testing time. Let's insert the refill toner and see how it prints. Thank God. Even though I am so experienced handling it, there's a sigh of relief whenever toner works properly after a refill.